Welcome to the Timeless Marketing Podcast with Brian Kurtz, your connection to insights from some of the top direct response marketing minds on the planet.
Hey, it's Brian Kurtz here, host of the Timeless Marketing Podcast. Today's episode is a clip from one of the 2-hour calls inside Titan's Accelerator, my private mentorship program for direct response marketers. Before we get to that, I have one question for you. Do you have a marketing insurance policy? If you don't, you need one. And that's why I created Titan's Accelerator, which is one of the most giving communities and serves as the de facto board of advisors and marketing insurance policy for over 250 of the best and brightest direct response marketers, copywriters, media buyers, marketing agencies, senior executives, anyone in direct response marketing who is committed to growing and scaling their business. The bottom line, you don't have to grow your business alone. And you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars either. Titan's Accelerator is 1/10 of the price of most groups of its kind. I know because I hosted a group that was over $20,000 a year. If you want to see how Titan's Accelerator can help you grow and scale your specific business, go to briankurtz.net/help. That's BRIANKURTZ.net/help. And with a private membership, you'll receive access to the full presentation from today's episode, along with the Q&A and discussion that followed. As an added bonus, you'll receive access to a vault filled with many more private calls just like this one. Again, if you want to see if Titan's Accelerator is a fit for you with no obligation, go to briankurtz.net/help. That's BRIANKURTZ.net/help. And feel free to email me directly. I respond to every email with questions about this episode or just to say hi at brian@briankurtz.net. Now on to today's episode.
All right, so Rich Schefren is really one of the top marketers in the world. He's got a great reputation. I know a lot of people know who he is because when we did the breakout room suggesting speakers, his name came up multiple times as someone you'd like to have. So I made sure we got him, and he is on the cutting edge of what's happening in marketing today through his Steal Our Winners program, which he'll tell you about. And he's put together a special presentation for Titan members, I think, because that's what it says here. Yes. And Rich and I go back a long way, and we both were mentored by Jay Abraham. We are both sticklers for direct response marketing in whatever medium we're in, and I am just pleased as punch to have Rich Schefren on this Titan's Accelerator call. So welcome, Rich.
Let's dive in. All right. So yeah, this is a special presentation for you guys. In addition to that, there's a special offer at the end. This is by no means like a presentation designed to sell you. And really more so, I wanted to give a very special offer to you guys because you're in Titans and because of my relationship with Brian and how much Brian cares about you guys and how he doesn't want any commission or anything. So I just made the best offer that I could possibly make, better offer than I've made in a long time. But we'll get to that at the very end. Today, what I'm going to cover with you are, first and foremost, a way of looking at things that I think is extremely vital to succeeding online. In addition to that, though, I'm also going to share a bunch of strategies and tactics that come from Steal Our Winners. So along those lines, I'm going to show you this process that is for an interactive choose your own adventure video strategy, boosting sales by 200 to 300%. And just to make sure, Brian, you can see that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure, because my system's a little screwed today. A channel that you can leverage to build target audiences of your competitors' customers for dirt cheap. How to dominate outbound sales with 4 proven appointment setting funnels. A stealth strategy for getting high value prospects for pennies. a new strategy leveraging YouTube to build a list of raving fans for high ticket clients for a few dollars a day, and an easy upsell that gets a 78% conversion rate that I believe any one of you can do. How to exploit the paradigm shift in marketing to maximize conversions with YouTube ads as well as everywhere else. And last but not least, an email strategy that gets a 50% open rate on lists with 1 million prospects on it. And, when I did a presentation that was with different strategies and different tactics, et cetera, to one of Jay Abraham's top groups, he introduced me and the strategies in a way that I think is probably one of the best ways to articulate it. So I'm going to just play this quick video. It's about a minute long from Jay.
This is a really auspicious opportunity because of all the people I know in digital, online, social media marketing, there is no one that I know that I have more respect for and more intrigued with than Rich Schefren for many reasons. Number one, he is the ultimate research scientist. He is unrelenting in trying to understand the implications, the applications of highest performance in every facet of online. And he has dedicated the last couple of years to creating a research business that identifies and probes and penetrates to understand who and what are the most powerful, profitable, and disruptive methodologies, nuances, and breakthroughs occurring in all facets of digital marketing at any point in time. Meaning, he has seen that if you can master the current, let's see if I can say this right, because I loved how you said it the other day to me, the current disruptive breakthroughs, you have a window of opportunity that is asymmetric, where you're going to get returns, results, profits, responses way out of proportion to anybody else you compete against. And Rich has a research advisory service called Steal Our Winners, where every month he interviews one or more breakthrough thinkers who at that freeze point position of time, that window of time, that man or woman has identified, discovered, refined, and perfected an aspect of digital, social media, online marketing that is outperforming anyone and everything else by orders of magnitude. And it's a window that is diminishing because people find out about it later. But right now, you have enormous advantage. And what we're going to explore today are some of the current huge, outsized, little known, little utilized winners that Rich has uncovered that are breakthrough, disruptive, leading edge, outsized, performing anything else being used.
Well, that's Jay. And I want to talk to you guys about what causes that first, because it's something that I believe most people don't realize about online marketing. And it's something that has become increasingly clear to me. And to give a scope of that, of the $15 billion that I've been credited in increasing businesses, I would say 99% has come from the movement of a strategy, tactic, or channel that the client of mine did not know about, the people in their industry didn't know about, and moving that to them at a time when they got an advantage from that because no one else in their market was leveraging that tactic, that strategy, that channel. And my experience with that is not unique. That when I've spoken to Perry Marshall about it, he agrees that everyone that he's helped has kind of grown a successful business that way. Or Ryan Dice agreed with me as well, saying the same thing. And so what I don't think people recognize, because it's different in offline than it is in online. I've come from the offline world. When I in my offline businesses, none of my businesses became very successful just because of a new marketing strategy, tactic, or channel. But online, online, it's very different. And every success that I've helped engineer has been caused by that, as well as many of my peers will say the same thing. And that then opens up an understanding about marketing that I think few people have, that I want to go through with you before we go into the tactics. So let's go to the levers now. So, and I call them levers because like basically any of these can really, like all of those examples that I showed you earlier, what all of those did for me and my business was really level it up. Like, and I want you to appreciate that why you only need one of these things at the end of the day, because what these things do when they work and they work effectively is all of a sudden you're getting much better results with no additional effort. That is how momentum is created, and momentum helps you create scale. So no extra effort, and all of a sudden there's more revenue coming in. That creates slack, that creates the opportunity to invest in things, and ultimately it creates the ability to grow and scale. And so that's why I call them levers. But remember from this point forward that every lever also comes with a life cycle, and that life cycle determines whether it's really going to grow your business or whether it's something that you need, but is not the thing that's really going to be responsible for the growth. So the first one I want to share with you was shared with me by Daniel Levis, and it's an interactive choose your own adventure video strategy that's boosting his sales of high-end coaching clients by 200 to 300%. It's called the Interactive Video Strategy to 3X Sales. And it's basically turning your sales process more into like a choose your own adventure style of marketing. So with Daniel, he used to have more of the traditional type of funnel for selling coaching clients, like high-end coaching clients. And that is, opt in to short, 20-minute VSL kind of thing, to then an application and, moving people from page to page and having them fill it out. He switched it to this. And this is a single page, right, where there's a video playing. It's asking you questions. And then based on your answers, it is then, going further and then asking another question, et cetera. And I'm going to explain the process, but I want you to first just get the general overview. So with that, there's two different companies that I know of that you can do this really easily. I'm sure there's more, but the ones that I know of and have tested are Video Ask and GoTolstoy.com, both really cool services. And I was first turned on to this by Jake Paul. Jake did a video with a friend of mine, Dennis Yu, and Dennis sent me this video on my phone. And Jake was talking, and he's like, this is just a clip of it, but he was standing next to Dennis and this other guy, Armani, and he's like, which one of us do you want to drink toilet water? And then I had to pick which one I wanted to drink toilet water. And then I watched that person go and walk to the bathroom. And then they asked me another question, and then eventually drinking toilet water. The point of it, though, was the interactivity of it. And so let me explain the benefits and the process, right? So the benefits are it converts at a much higher rate than VSLs and webinars because you're personalizing as you go through. It increases opt-in rates for sales calls because it's new, and anything new gets increased engagement right out of the gate. It collects useful data about prospects beforehand. It piques interest while increasing engagement. It builds more trust, desire, and familiarity than other methods because you're talking their language as the video continues and you incorporate what was asked before, and I'll explain. You're getting micro commitments, which leads to a larger commitment. And it increases show-up rate on sales calls, and you'll understand why. Here are 3 different quotes that I took from the segment that I did with Daniel. You are pre-qualifying, pre-educating, pre-selling, getting them to fill out an application, and even booking a call on your enrollment calendar. It's all happening right here, all in the same web page. So they never have to, there's no drop-off, there's no breakage. Next, you don't have the typical drop-off between registering for a webinar, showing up for a webinar, doing a booking page at the end of the webinar, and then an application page, and so on. It's a seamless process, no friction between steps, and it's all done soup to nuts, click to call in around 15 minutes. Okay, so the steps that Daniel does, and yours might be different, right? he asks 3 questions. What type of, so he starts talking, and then it's like, what type of industry are you in? Are you B2B or B2C, right? Which niche do you most closely align with? Health, wealth, or relationships, right? And then the last question is, how much revenue are you netting annually right now? Less than 100K, from 100K to $1 million, or over $1 million. And so if you take the 2 options for the first question, the 3 options for the second, that means there's 6 combinations plus 3 for the third is now 18 buckets. With those 18 buckets, once he has that information, what he's doing is he is giving them a case study that meets them exactly where they are. That if they're B2C, then the case study is about a B2C company that's in health, just like they are, that's currently doing less than 100K, that got to the next phase got to $1 million. And so that's the case study he's going to tell them about, so that they're already now hearing about a case study that is exactly like them as they're filling out the application and booking their appointment. Okay. So based on their answers, share a case study of a customer who's similar that used the solution to get impressive results, right? And walk them through the application on the video. So people are actually filling it out as they're going, and they're filling out in the video, like the answers to the application. So that is the first strategy, right? And they schedule a call. So let's go to the next one, which is a great example to really highlight this idea of this, life cycle and timing. So outbound is the new inbound. And what I mean by that is that, well, I'll walk you through it, but outbound is the new inbound, dominating outbound sales with 4 proven appointment setting funnels. So this was given to me by Cole Gordon. Cole Gordon is a gentleman that has set up a lot of phone rooms for thought leaders and gurus and influencers who want to have telephone sales, but want to do it they want to keep total control over it and do it in a more ethical way than sending people to a call center, which is one of the fastest ways to have your reputation soiled. So Cole is a busy guy. He's worked with Traffic and Funnels. He's worked with Todd Brown. He's worked with Aaron Fletcher and countless others. He's done work with Agora and a bunch of others. So here's the process. It's an outbound call, and it's adding it to the beginning of the process, right? So you're actually, a lot of people sell high ticket products with, what I was explaining before, some kind of application method that then sets up a call. What top marketers have found is that by adding an additional call to the front of that sequence and having that be an outbound call as opposed to an inbound call can have dramatic positive effects. So you're positioning this first call as really just a concierge type leadership role, where it's like whatever brought you to the website, because that's when you're going to be calling them when they're watching something, engaging in something of yours, you find out what brought them there today and giving them something for free, right? Some free resource to help them right away. And then ask them a few questions and then set up a call for a future date. So you've already bypassed a lot of the stuff that you would need to do online, but you've also made that personal connection up front. So you're adding an extra call. And so here's some of the benefits, and then I'll tell you a little story about it and then show you the process. Little used sales and marketing channel right now, increased return on ad spend, decreases cost per lead, mitigates ad volatility, increases profit margins, gives you more room to scale, produces outbound leads that are more likely to close than inbound leads, increases the likelihood of qualified leads that show up to appointments because you've already made a connection with them. And then content marketing sets you up for successful value first follow-up with leads, because now you have a way of monetizing anytime someone's coming to your site for content. And so and obviously because of all those reasons, it gives you a competitive advantage. So here's one of the examples. So as you can see here, right, if you look all the way on the left, there's an ad, right? And it's going to take people to a VSL, right? So that ad sends people to an opt-in page where they enter their email and phone number to then watch the VSL, right? And then from the VSL, though, while they're watching the VSL, they're going to get a call. Okay. So while they're watching the VSL, they're actually, watching, they're going to get a call. They're going to get it between 5 and 10 minutes after they've opted in. And this VSL might be like 20 minutes long. And so that the idea is that you're engaging with them when they're active on your site. Here's two other ones, right? Like using a lead magnet to do the same thing, or to use either that and use ManyChat. But the idea is to do something outbound after they've given you their number, but do it in a way where you're not trying to sell anything. You're just making a connection. You're giving them something, and then you're following up with them. And so when I'm very close with the guys from Traffic and Funnels, Chris Evans and Taylor Welsh. And when I was telling Taylor about this conversation with Cole, about outbound being the new inbound, Taylor was like, oh, yeah, no doubt. We switched over around 6 months ago, and I'd say about 90% of our sales start with an outbound call. And like, the reason why I think this is a great example to kind of articulate or illustrate what I'm talking about as far as life cycle right now, because so few places that, few websites that you go to will call you, it's a novel thing, and you feel like the person cares, and it actually does extremely well. Once everyone starts doing that, I can assure you, you will not be greeted the same way by the phone call. Like, it will be a totally different thing. And so, right now, the people who are doing it are doing insanely well. At some point, that will stop. And the question is will you leverage it, if it makes sense in your business before, while it's so easy to make work. All right, so next one. This one's really quick and simple. Let me go to this one. A channel you can leverage to build target audiences of your competitors' customers or complementary customers of other products for dirt cheap. This one I learned from Gohar Chaudhry, and it's really pretty straightforward. You're leveraging adware to trigger pop-ups and pop-unders based on user behavior. So let me explain that. Adware is not spyware. If you use Honey, then you're using adware. If you have a lot of extensions, you probably have some adware on your computer. About half of all computers have adware on it. And when there's adware, there are a couple different networks, which I'll tell you about in a second, where you can buy pop-ups and pop-unders on those computers. Okay. And it's a computer, not a browser, because the adware is now on the computer, which means that you can target a keyword no matter where it's typed, no matter which search engine, right? You can target any individual website, no matter whether they're using Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or any other, right? Brave. You can target any specific URL. And it costs anywhere from 1.5 to 3 cents per pop. And here's the most important thing. Here's why you do it. You might have them opt in for something. You might try and make a sale. You might do an affiliate product. Who knows? But whatever you do, you want to place your Google, Facebook, and AdRoll pixel on it, so that this way you can build out targeted, groups that you can then target later that have come from these different sources. Okay. So I'll explain a little bit more. So the first, here are the 3 different networks that you can buy this sort of traffic: propelmedia.com, advertise.com, and rtxplatform.com. So those are the 3. And then here are 2 examples. So with Steal Our Winners, let's say I was going to target not competitors, right, but 2 different groups that would be very good for me to target. One could be ClickFunnels users. So people who are using ClickFunnels to sell, right? Well, when I go to check my stats in ClickFunnels, right, this is what I see. And so I can target just this part, clickfunnels.com/funnels. If that appears in a browser, any browser, right, I can target that and have my pop-up either pop under or pop in front. But either way, what it's doing is, because it pops on their computer, it's now adding them to a targeted list. So I could have all the ClickFunnels users, or I could do it on an order page of a competitor of mine, and anyone who hits that order page becomes part of my targeted list. Or I could do it on Infusionsoft, right? Because anyone who's checking their stats in Infusionsoft might be a good Steal Our Winners subscriber. And then I would just target that part of the URL, signin.infusionsoft.com/login, because that would be someone who's logging into the system. So this is a strategy that very few people know about. You're not going to replace all your advertising with this, but this is like incremental. I know a lot of people that do this, and it's just an easy way to make extra money in their business by targeting and getting access to a group of people that normally you wouldn't be able to. So let me tell you the next one. The next one is from Charles Kirkland, and it's a strategy that gets high value prospects for pennies. And this is not like late breaking info. In fact, we did this, I think, in the very first issue that we released of Steal Our Winners, but I still think it's very sharp, and it's something that very few people know about, very few people do. And it only works for businesses that would be in the right situation. So how to easily target high value leads for dirt cheap. And it came from Charles Kirkland, and he did this for a high-end consulting company. And I don't remember exactly what's on my slide, so let me put those on first, and then I'll explain it. All right. So, yeah, let's see here. So Charles, what Charles had to do, let's see. Charles was hired by a company that was a consulting company where their minimum engagement is really $100,000. And so, where do you find leads that are capable of spending $100,000, right? Well, Charles had this idea that he could ask the CEO of the consulting firm to rank his favorite books for HR, for strategy, for supply chain, for whatever, right? And write like a paragraph about each one. And so the CEO of the consulting company did that. And Charles then consolidated that, turned that into a report, and then bid on all of those authors' names. And guess what? There's not a lot of competition for, academic authors of like management tomes. And so the price to advertise dirt cheap. And so he was spending pennies, right, to advertise that report of the top books on, these different categories. But he was able to get buyers for pennies, and actually people who did convert to six-figure engagements that cost almost nothing to advertise to. Okay, so it can generate a low cost per click, easy to make, right? Like this premium is not hard to make and positions you and your brand as a real world authority. Here are the steps. Identify your target audience if this works for you. Compile a list of 8 to 15 books that you'd recommend to your ideal customer. Create a PDF that lists your recommended books with a brief summary of each, right? Create an opt-in page that teases the benefits of your recommended books, right? Drive traffic to the opt-in page. And you're doing that by bidding on these authors who generally, and the names of the books that generally have very little competition, right? And this was like the page that he sent them to. It couldn't be any more basic, right? He achieved a cost per click of under 40 cents and saw conversion rates for his opt-in page over 20% from this very basic offer.
Thanks for listening to the Timeless Marketing Podcast with Brian Kurtz. Visit briankurtz.net and click podcast at the top of the page for a full transcript and show notes. If you are interested in working with Brian personally inside of Titans Accelerator, go to briankurtz.net/help to see how Titans can help you grow and scale your business. That's briankurtz.net/help.